section. You know, when Donna's ready, we're going to create a storm sequence using some heavy-duty mechanical effects. Let's check on it. Who's crying over here? How you doing? Good? Well, I think you'll enjoy this a lot more if you're going to pull that hood up. Yeah, and give a nice tug on those strings. Touch me on this one. Now, as you often see, when our mock-up is rocked, we can simulate movement on the high C. To make it more believable, I'm going to add wind. Carrie's going to add rain, and I need you all to do the action, okay? On the count of 3, I need you to yell as loud as you can. Dump it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dump it! And our very brave skipper are used to these classic high seas adventure. Now, considering we just dumped over 400 gallons of water over that pilot house and John's head, I'd say he weathered the storm real well. Let's give him a great big hand. The overhead monitors, you're going to see how shooting a full scale nature battle at sea could really sink a film's budget. That's why we miniatures like the ones here on water tank. How do you suppose we film a miniature cutting through the ocean? Keep your eyes on the monitors, I'll show you how it's done. If we did the water surface flat, then our miniature would sink. So we had waves. But if the waves are too big, then our boat sinks toward the bathtub, just 500 down. Let's get around these problems. We use large screens like these orange ones that create very small, fast-moving waves. Then we slow everything down to just approximate. Creating smoke, sound effects, and music, our scene is almost ready. Now I say almost because we still need 2 more things. We need explosions provided by water cannons, and we need an actor provided by an unsuspecting volunteer. Chemistry?
Rob.
Rob, not today. No, today you're going to be Captain Duck. Commander of the SS Totally Sinkable and starring in an action-packed adventure, all hands on deck. But that was binoculars, Captain, because we're now on patrol in the deepest, darkest regions of our special effects water tank. And often this is Captain, we spot a battleship. Through this way, Captain. And you fire a torpedo right through its midsection. Fire 1! What a great shot! Unfortunately, that was one of ours, Captain. Captain, can you play somebody who's going to come? Every direction. We're getting closer and closer. Captain, you're a dead duck.
This gold robot you see right here, this is Johnny 5 from the movie Short Circuit 2. Up above me here, this red robot, this is a Maximilian, the sinister robot from the movie The Black Hole. Also right here, this big man, this is Annie from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Also right here in front of me, we have some props from the movie Dick Tracy. Hello everyone, my name is Mike. This is it, the Special Effects Workshop. This is where the wizards of art and technology create illusions that come to life on screen. It all starts with a storyboard. The miniature sculptures are made and used as guides to create full-scale mechanical props. Some of these creatures are worked like puppets, with off-camera operators using cables to move them. In other cases, miniatures are brought to life through a process called stop motion animation. This is where they're photographed, one frame at a time, with an animator stepping in and moving the creature slightly, very slightly between each shot. When the film's played back at full speed, the movement appears very fluid and lifelike, like the scorpion seen from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Miniaturizations also play a big part in special effects. This drawbridge and ferry boat are two examples from the movie Dick Tracy, a film that has taken the art of visual effects to a new level. Take a look at your red monitors and you'll see what I mean. In this particular scene, 4 elements were used: miniaturization, live action, animation, and something we call map painting. How they all come together are visual effects. Keep watching and we'll show you how Tracy's film was completed. First, the live action was filmed in front of us, painted flat on the Studio Backlot, where Warren Beatty chased his kid down 100 feet of fake railroad track. And I went down. And where? Oh, to the next part of our tour, the special effects shooting stage. This is where you'll follow your tour guide Paul once again. You'll see a part of the movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Have a good day now. Those of you in front of me, you turn right.
Hi folks, as you enter, please use both levels and step all the way up till you're shoulder to shoulder with the person in front of you. Those of you just entering will find more room on the...
Miss Sophie climbed outside the window onto the ledge. That wasn't Bet, that was her stunt double, Carol Nielsen, in a matching costume and wig. However, back here on the soundstage, we recreated the entire apartment and ledge for Bet. The one underneath the ledge is a pigeon trainer. Oh no, watch out, Bet. You're about to plunge a death-defying fall of 2 feet to a foam mattress below. Meanwhile, outside, Carol hangs on for dear life. Don't worry, though. She's wearing a safety harness underneath her costume.
Gage! Drop the ticket!
On the soundstage, we've hung Bet in front of a blue screen so we can superimpose her over any background we want. Of course, in this case, it was New York City, but we could send Bet to Paris faster than the Concorde. The banner fall was a series of shots involving both Bet and Carol.
Action!
Before this next complicated scene was shot, director Gary Marshall made sure all of the actors knew the plan. And then it was time for one of the wildest rides ever down the sidewalks of New York City. As you can see, the shopping cart was controlled on a track, but certain elements still required that human touch.
Action! 1, 2, explode! Perfect!
The subway stair sequence was begun out on the New York City street backlot, and then finished up inside on the soundstage. Remember the flight over the turnstile? To create this effect, we used a compressed air catapult.
See everybody here on the right side of the shuttle, wave at me, all the way there into the back. That's the side I'm standing on. Okay, great. Just want to let you folks know that you're going to get a little wet today, besides the rain. But that's okay. You look at the people on the left side. You guys are going to get soaked. So if you need to switch, now's the time to do that, because once we do get started, I'm going to request that you all please remain seated at all times throughout our tour.
I think I'm safe here, huh, Rob?
Also, as a word of warning, I see video cameras, I see all kinds of purses, glasses, hats. Please, while we're on our tour, hang on to those valuable things. You don't want to lose them overboard. It might take a while to get them back, and I don't know whether you'll get them back in the same condition that they left the shuttle in. Also, please, as a courtesy to everyone around you, no smoking, eating, or drinking while we're on our tour as well. Recording studios, everything that you could possibly need to make commercials, television shows, and feature films. Speaking of film, while we're on our tour today, there are no restrictions whatsoever. So get those cameras and get those camcorders ready to go, because your very first photo opportunity is coming up on our right. And I do mean high up on our right. The award-winning Earful Tower, the symbol of the Disney-MGM studios. Our tower stands 13 stories tall and is capped off, as you see, by a set of Mickey Mouse ears that weigh 16 tons. 16 tons, what do you get? Well, you get a hat size in this case of 342 3/8. Also on your right is our prop warehouse and one of our motor pools. Those futuristic-looking police cars were used in the film Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford. The red Coyote sports car, if you recall, came from a TV show called Hardcastle and McCormick starring Brian Keith. That's a Chevrolet with green wheels out there. That was used in the movie Untouchables starring Sean Connery and Kevin Costner. And the whole row of vintage automobiles, colorfully painted, bullet holes and all, was used in the movie Dick Tracy. You can see our prop department is busy refurbishing things back there. But on your left side are bungalows. Bungalows is where we house production crews that are currently filming here at the studios. For instance, bungalow number 1, we currently have filming the Mickey Mouse Club. Bungalow number 3 is a company called Ivan Tours, who's making a new movie about a very old movie star. And that movie star is Flipper. Look for that coming out soon. Right now, Jeremiah is taking us into our greens department. Here we store the plants, trees, shrubs that we use on a sound set. Why we do that? Well, we use them to hide the cables laying on the ground, for instance, or maybe a wall that's only partially built. Of course, because of the heat of the lamps, are all carefully fireproof before they are taken into a sound stage. Coming up on our right, should a director need a 30-foot flower stem, we just happen to have a leftover from the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And those designer plants, those are called topiaries. Their sculpture takes up to 10 years to develop them that way. And of course, you see those all throughout the Walt Disney World. Right now, Jeremiah is going to take us into one of our more glamorous departments. That's called creative costuming. As we enter the tunnel, you'll see that our many talented artists, tailors and seamstresses, are busy at work. Look up to your left on the wall, you'll see the many designer sketches. That's how costume begins. As we go through the tunnel, you'll see many examples as well. Julia Roberts from the movie Pretty Woman, Warren Beatty and Donna from the movie Dick Tracy, Julie Andrews and Mary Poppins. Later on will be Bill Campbell from the Rocketeer, and the human postmaster from Luke Perry from Roger Rabbit. Now, our 180 artists here will use up to 175,000 yards of material every year. And right now in Florida, we host the world's largest working wardrobe, consisting of 2.5 million garments. Well, I hate to do with Washington. Right now we're passing by our lighting department. Here our technicians maintain about 3.5 million watts of lighting power. That's enough to light the entire city with a head of Florida. Then the Dick Tracy makeup stuff for on display are the many basket appliances that we're using. As for the humans in the comic book criminals you saw in the movie. And quickly on your right, a very special Delta L-411. After it saw 11 years of service with Delta Airlines, it was modified and now sits in a flexible hangar. Actually, it's not in a hangar, it's on a soundstage, providing a very realistic set of traditional videotape and feature films. Recently, it was used by Warner Brothers in the production of the movie titled Passenger 57. And look at that. Now on your left, we're passing by our seating department. You know, props sometimes come from garage sales, antique stores, but if we can't find it, our talented carpenters will make it right here. Looks like they're busy making a set for Star Search, starring Ed McMahon, which is coming here to the Disney-MGM studios in June. Right now, we're exiting the tunnel. You look off to your left, you'll see an area up on that lot that was transformed into the Sterling Laboratories of Las Vegas, Nevada for the final scene in a movie called Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. It's a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Look for that coming out this summer. Here in a backlot, we can control many things, but when a production company goes out on location, they have to deal with a lot of things. Things like crowds, noise, and traffic. So that's why they like to come here to do their filming. Right now, we're entering a section of our backlot we call Residential Street. Now, before you pack your bags and move here like everybody says, I want to live at Walt Disney World, take a close look at this first house. Not much privacy in that house. In fact, there's a sign in front, I think, says it all. See, there's no insides or backs. These are facades. It's something for the camera to see, something for a director to use. And we can make it so magical. For instance, one time we brought in 50 tons of shaved ice, some lights, some trees. We had Christmas a year ago July, right there at that Pennsylvania Dutch-style home. All of our homes have been used for feature films at one time or another. Look at the 1963 Cadillac parked on your left. That's the car that caused all the problems in the movie Tin Man, starring Richard Dreyfuss and Danny DeVito. There's 8 different models here on our residential street, depicting 8 different styles of American architecture. Like I said, they've all been used at one time or another. A very famous house coming up on our left, a beige Hawaiian style house. It's the home of the award-winning Golden Girls, starring Lee Arthur, McClanahan, Estelle Getty, and Betty White. They do the exterior shots right here, and then they combine them with videotape done on a soundstage in California to provide the final TV show that you see weekly. Across and catty-corner from them is the home of their neighbors from Empty Nest. And then finally, the last house on your left shows what our prop designers can do to make that home, give that home the look that the director wants, complete with toys, the American flag, and the doghouse out in the front yard. And the last house, speaking of dog houses, the Flyers meet to eat in the movie The Rocketeer, the Bulldog Cafe. Complete with a GP airplane. Wish that airplane could fly, but it's not. It was never designed to fly. It is really a full-size prop that was used in the movie. It was called special effects. It's a blue screen technique. At the conclusion of our tour, I'll show you exactly how you can become a special effects expert yourself. But right now, it looks like we're waiting here to do some traffic to clear. Let me tell you a little bit about this area before we go deeper into our back lot. If you look across the street to your left, you can see what we call New York Street. Now, we will be coming back to this area, but please note the fact that all of our buildings on New York Street are 3 stories tall. Most studios, they only have 1 story. It gives the cameras, the directors, very limited exposure as far as camera angles. That's why they like to come here and shoot their scenes. We can even make those buildings 5, 6, 10, 12 stories tall. And it's called matte painting. It's a special effect technique as well that you'll learn inside the Magic if you want to take that tour, which I strongly recommend if you haven't seen it yet. Looks like we have a tram clearing in front of us, so let's wait here a few minutes, and we'll continue deeper into our back lot. Also, at this end of New York Street, you see that archway over there. That's called Washington Square. That's where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the heroes in a half shell, make their appearances throughout the day. For all you kids, it's a chance to get a photograph with your favorite hero in a half shell, maybe an autograph as well. So check your Showtime guide. They appear through the balance of the afternoon, right up till 5:30. Well, it looks like we're about ready to clear here. Now we'll go deeper into our back lot. All clear. There's many photograph opportunities as we're on our tour today. For those of you in the rear of the tram, there's one coming up on your right. Look forward towards the front of the tram, and that's me, your tour guide. How you doing back there? Look at all those smiling bright. I guess everybody, oh, there we go. Now they're waving at me there in the back car. Glad to see you're having fun and keeping up. Right now we're going to enter a section of the back lot we call the Boneyard. Boneyard is where we store planes, trains, spaceships, boats, you name it, we got it. The Dumbo Circus Wagon from the Disney Channel. A very sleek looking boat that was used in the TV series called The 100 Lives of Blackjack Savage. It's been clocked at speeds of 70 miles an hour and is built, as you can see, after the spy plane, the SR-71 spy plane. The cockpit section from Blue Thunder, starring Roy Scheider. Many Army vehicles can be drafted into service at any time. Another automobile from the Dick Tracy movie. And an airplane tail section. That's the tail section from the forward section that's on display in the great movie ride in the Casablanca scene, the airport scene, starring Humphrey Bogart. As we cross the canal here, look closely, that is really rain. That is not a special effect. We'll see a little bit of that here in a second, so hang on. The 3 blue vintage automobiles were used in the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think the kids can figure out which one Roger Rabbit drove out into. And the trolley car from the same movie. Look closely at the wheels, however. They're made of fiberglass, cleverly hiding the fact that there's bus tires back there. It's cheaper to modify a bus to look like a trolley car and then paint the tracks on the ground than it was to actually have a trolley car and to put tracks on the ground. The space pods from the 1986 movie Flight of the Navigator. And then the big giant gears from the final scene of the movie Dick Tracy. Across the street, or across the canal, you get a better view of Residential Street, not much privacy there. Notice the roof line as well. We only build what the camera can see. Which leads me to the thing, what if we need something here in Florida that we don't have? Like oil wells, an oil field, a rocky desert, barren canyon. We don't have that here, of course. So in 1989, 3 years ago this month, we built such a thing here for our directors and producers to use. And we call it Catastrophe Canyon. Now, we're going to be entering the canyon. Jeremiah's going to be driving on a rough wooden bridge, so please, we're going to be shaking up a little bit here, so please hang on to your valuables and always remain seated while we're inside the canyon. That's a very important thing. As we enter the canyon, please note how realistic everything looks. Built to the minutest detail. Jeremiah will stop here for just a few seconds so we can take everything in. Look off to your left, you see the explosive shaft, very realistic looking. The oil tank there with crude oil dripping down the side. Very realistic. The oil well. And finally that straight liner truck. It even runs. Of course, we didn't drive it there. It was lifted up and over the canyon walls by crane. That was a lot easier than driving it across the steep ravine. Now, in the movie making business, time, of course, is money. You can't wait around for Mother Nature like we're having right now and have it rain. The director needs it on too, so when he says lights, camera, and action, so much rain. Now, the rain is created by high-pressure water molecules that sit on top of the canyon out of the eyesight. The water sprayed out in a crisscrossing pattern to give it a very natural effect, as you can see. Almost better than Mother Nature is right now. We can even add some strobe lights and some wind. D1, take two. Hang on, we're right in the middle of the earthquake scene. Oh, look at that. We got lucky with that one. No earthquake for us. What is this? Oh, man. I can see it as a canyon. What is that noise, that rumbling? Look out, it's a flash flood! And the truck is breaking away! Well, why don't we get out of here and take a look at that stage? All clear. Let's take a look and see how that canyon is made. Now, the canyon, it took 6 months to construct. It's quite a long time, but I think it was well worth it. Carefully hand-molded to look like the real thing. The small yellow pipes carry the propane gas for the fires and the explosion. The large white pipe recycle the water from the canyon floor all the way to holding tanks on the top of the canyon out of eyesight. When the floodgates are open, 70,000 gallons of water came rushing towards El Cerro. And that big plume of water you saw shot up into the air, that was called a water cannon. Water cannons so strong you could shoot a basketball over the entire scene. What seemed like an out-of-control disaster was actually very carefully utilized a series of events, all of which can be recycled in 3.5 minutes. Just in time for our next shuttle load of victims. Visitors. There happens to be another shuttle load on their way right now, so let's not give away the secret. Let's just smile, wave as they go by, and, oh, by the way, look dry, okay? that's going to whisk us from the canyons of California to the streets of the Big Apple, New York City, skyscrapers and all. As we turn the corner, you'll get several good views of several things I would be talking about. For instance, on your left, if you look at that small town church, notice as you drive in front of it, it suddenly transforms into a large city cathedral. On your right, you get a better view of how strong our buildings here are constructed. Those steel girders and sides are capable of withstanding 90-mile-an-hour hurricane wind forces. What looks like old bricks there on the building are actually made of plywood, fiberglasses, and carefully painted. Even the stains are carefully painted right on there to give it a realistic look. But another great photo opportunity. Point your cameras through the archway of Washington Square and you'll get a great view of downtown New York City, skyscrapers and all. See, that's an old Hollywood trick called forced perspective. The real Empire State Building stands 100 stories tall. Ours is a painted flat about 2 blocks away that only stands 4 stories tall. And the last thing, crashing through the wall, the actual dipmobile driven by Dr. Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And with that, folks, unfortunately that concludes our tour today. I know you're teary-eyed about it all, but please try to stay dry today. Please stay seated till our tram comes to a complete halt and the doors have opened up completely. And when you do exit beyond the blue poles,